Welcome to another Hope, Power, and Healthcare with Chris Hemphill and
Melissa Riley.
holy heck. Well, hey, before we get started, I've got an announcement, maybe a little bit of a begging too. Quick favor to ask for the fam. I'm part of an upcoming panel that's running for South by Southwest next year, and my fellow panelists would love your vote to help us bring what we have to say to the stage. We've got a panel called Can AI Unlock the Next Frontier in Mental Health Care? And we're bringing together voices across tech, clinical, policy. We're bringing these voices to discuss how AI can power care that's more personalized, equitable, and effective. So the people that'll be on our panel: Dr. Jessica Jackson from Mental Health America, Steve Duke, who, if you're not following him, you should look at his Substack. He keeps you in touch with the latest going on in digital mental health. And Dr. Andy Blackwell, who's a neuroscientist and leader at ISO, which is an AI mental health company. So fabulous lineup, and we're requesting your vote. You can vote from now to August 24th. Head over to sxsw.com, that's South by Southwest website. Search for our session title and tap the little heart next to it to cast your vote. It does make you log in first to vote, but it only takes 30 seconds, and that's going to help us get that message out. We want to bring in more innovators, more fam, more people excited and thoughtful about building out the future of healthcare. So with that, let's get into it. Melissa, how are you doing?
Well, I just loved your announcer voice, Chris. It sounds like you should be doing like infomercials for lots of different things when you do that. I love
Oh,
it.
my goodness. There was this Evernorth event that
I remember.
you kind of talked me into helping host it that year, and they trained this announcer voice into me where I was doing this TV hosting thing.
Yeah, I love it. On my Instagram, they have all this voice training, and I keep looking at it. It must pick it up because of the podcast. And I'm like, ooh, maybe I should do that. And I find myself talking to myself in my car, being like, ooh, should I slow down my voice? Should I bring it higher? Should I bring it lower? Like, voice training is actually super interesting.
So you literally started the voice training stuff.
Yeah, let's say Melissa investigated. Sometimes I find myself spiraling into obsessions. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not in an obsession yet, Chris. I'll tell you more about that when I tell you like how I spent my week. But it's definitely, let's call it intellectual curiosity.
That's freaking fabulous because straight up, I'm curious about the voice training that's being offered, but I wouldn't be where I am today without getting some focused training in public speaking. But like before, I was like a long time ago, like I'd done this presentation and talked through this process, and my boss said too stuttery, too like just you need to learn how to better command a room, and he sent me to this thing called Toastmasters.
Toastmasters.
You know,
Yeah, I know about Toastmasters. A lot of the corporate companies like use Toastmasters. I just remember being like a baby in healthcare, and there'd be like a Toastmasters group meeting. And I was like, in your 20s, you roll your eyes at that. You're like, this is for old people. And then, but I actually think there's a lot of good things in Toastmasters.
oh my fam, it was so sweet being there, honestly, because when I was there, I thought I don't know what I'm getting into. Maybe it's gonna be corny and all that, but what I saw was people who had struggled with communication all their lives. They might have been neurodivergent or just had challenges really understanding that context, and you're on the hot seat. The first session, you're up there. Like I just showed up and I thought, okay, I'm going to sit here and see how this thing goes, just see what's going on. No, you're new. They get you up there and they say, hey, give us a 3-minute speech right now. And while you're doing it, there are people that are counting your ums and ahs and things like that. They're counting your pauses and stuff. And it's a lot of pressure, but they deliver the feedback in a really kind and nurturing way. And then you hear other people give their talks, and they talk about like where they were 10 weeks ago, 6 months ago, etc. And it's just so sweet to see people progressing in their ability to communicate.
So, one of the best books that I recommend to people all the time is this incredible book by my friend Susan Rowan. Shout out to Susan Rowan. We have like a very fun story. Actually, we have several fun stories together. She wrote this book called How to Work a Room. And inside How to Work a Room, it's filled with tips on speaking, presentation, how to know if someone is tired of hearing from you.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, this book is like a gift for my life. Maybe it is a window into my own neurodivergence, but it was so interesting, Chris, because do you know what the number one tip is? If someone is tired of like talking to you.
I have an idea.
Oh, just guess. Just guess. There's probably two. So there's like, you really can't be wrong in this.
When I hear "damn, that's crazy" like too many times, I'm like, all right.
Okay, well, I mean, that might be a very obvious hint that they're tired of listening to you. But even looking at like their body positioning, now this might be an FBI profiler type tip, but if they start to orient their body away from you or start looking up and around like they're seeking help, or looking for an escape route, right? It's a tiny signal that, maybe they're done listening. Now, unfortunately, on the podcast, we don't really get the signal from our fan. They have to talk back to us to understand, if they're tired of hearing from us. But they also gave these tips on like how to gracefully exit, such as, oh, I need to go get a drink. Would you like something? And just gracefully move yourself out of said conversation. And I'm telling you, Chris, this book, it pays for itself. And I'm not even, lined up to support Susan. I just fundamentally really believe in this book.
That's super cool. And what was the title again?
How to Work a Room.
How to
Susan Rowan. She calls herself the mingling maven.
People are saying that people call that stuff soft skills and all that, but really, for a lot of people, that's the part that requires the most mastery.
Yeah, especially I think now in this age of AI. I'm just watching my kids. I literally, this was like my husband and I were discussing, should we put our kids on a more structured schedule and plan to unlock their phone utilization? Because what we're finding is in these, let's call them the dog days of summer, there's so much utilization of the phone. And every time I look around, my daughter is like trying to get on and watch another episode of How I Met Your Mother. Now, How I Met Your Mother is an amazing show, but you should not watch all 6 seasons in 2 weeks, Chris. This is not effective, time management on her part.
How old is she?
She's 12.
12? Okay. Yeah. I wonder how to get in there, because like you get stuck in these vortexes of content, and I don't know, what's the escape route?
Yeah, that's very much that dopamine addiction, right? And I think now with the use of no commercials and the fact that you can just stream and stream and stream, like there's no stop from the, unlock, or even these natural breaks where previously, you could use a commercial and you'd be like, okay, at that commercial, TV gets to be turned off. And I don't know about the rest of our fam, but if I'm upstairs recording the podcast, there's someone like sneaking down trying to turn on the TV, and we've resulted in like locking the TV to keep these children from technology.
See how important this, like we're talking about lock down the house to make this thing happen. It's fabulous. Love it. How about your week? Talk to me. What's been going on?
Yeah, I, as always, have had a really, really interesting week. It has been super busy. I would say one half of the week has been spent on onboarding new clients, which is a luxury that I'm incredibly grateful for. It's just been very, very busy and wonderful. The other half has been Melissa has returned with help from Melissa as the conference attendee planner. So there's a bunch of upcoming exciting events, BHT with our friend Salome, HLTH. I'll be headed out to the Medicaid Health Plan Association conference in September. It'll
Very
be my
jealous.
first time going there. And also, I'm going to support a friend of mine at the Florida Behavioral Health Conference at the end of August. So I would say it's been my week of looking at conference planning, also getting support for the children who still have not gone back to school, go back to
Mhm.
school children, and then just adding new clients to the roster. And I love that. What
That's
about you?
well, that's a rich conference schedule. Is there anything that you're excited to get out of these and tell people about when you connect in person?
Yeah, okay. So I'm working on a couple hypotheses just around like what does the future of care start to look like. And so lately, as some of you may know, I've been crossing what I call like the mental health adjacencies. So I've been doing a lot more of women's health and digital health, but usually each company has some lightweight connection back to mental health. I'll give you an example. I'm doing some work with Zeal around medical massages, and what I'm finding is so many people have no idea, Chris, what a medical massage is. Do you know what a medical massage is?
Not quite, but we are a Zeal customer now.
Oh, I love that. Yes. I love that. And so a medical massage is actually a very targeted massage that's actually part of a PT or chiropractic regimen. It has to be ordered by an MD and it has to be targeted and measured. So I thought you would love it because there is measurement based care in this massage.
I actually did have one.
You had a medical massage
I
or like,
there's a in Birmingham, Alabama. I spent a long time there, and they have an ultra running group called Butts.
of
Birmingham,
course it's called
of
butts,
course, yeah,
right?
Birmingham Ultra Trail Society. And if you're doing those distances, you're gonna get hurt. And this firm, it's a rehabilitation and chiropractor firm called, and I'm they're not paying me to say this, but I just love them so much. They're called Functional Athletic Rehabilitation and Movement Farm, the farm. So all the trail runners would go to the farm
So the
to
butts go to the farm.
the
This
butts.
seems
Yes, yes. Hurt butts in the farm.
oh,
That's what happens. But yeah, they were all, like they were ultra runners themselves, and what they would do is they had the chiropractic regimen, and also that they had a therapist, a massage therapist, Steve Ponte, shout out, who would. The beauty of it was just like people that are trained in rehabilitation, but also doing our sport because of like I had been to a doctor one time and they said you probably shouldn't be running more than 3 miles, and in my brain I was like, oh, that kills anything that I'd ever want to do, so let me go to somebody else who like understands the psychology here.
and so did your insurance pay for your massage then, Chris? I mean, that's the hallmark of the medical massage. This is not out of pocket for you. And I think that's the piece that so many people fail to understand is that your insurance will cover a medical massage.
It could have, but I
You don't
just
remember?
no, I paid cash for it, like I
Oh,
do.
then you didn't have a medical
I
massage.
didn't. Oh well,
No,
I had it at like
you
at
had
a
a
place that
targeted. You had a
okay.
targeted massage,
I
which
thought I was
probably
good. I
at
thought I
a
was good.
place that knew how to do medical massage. But this
Yes.
is what I mean, right? So it goes back to my point of I am just loving these spaces where these little gems of amazing things that need to be scaled a lot more than they are. And I'm really excited and fascinated by that. Like it's so mission aligned to everything you and I talk about, like giving more people hope. And I would love to have more people accessing medical massage.
Yeah, yeah. So, sounds awesome to get out there and just get into these like nuances and things that nobody turning on the podcast expected to hear about, like what it takes to operationalize and make medical massages accessible. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I really didn't mean it as a commercial for Zeal, even though I do love them. Shout out to Zeal, right? Actually, it's like it's so incredibly fun to work with them. But it's been so incredibly fun to work with all of the stealth companies. You know, Chris, like I think it's very, very exciting to be kind of living the mission that you and I set out. Even, you know, we promised ourselves way back in the beginning we were not going to gatekeep ourselves, and we really haven't. We've kind of held
No.
to that commitment of, you know, recording every week and spending time together and looking for opportunities to help each other. And, you know, I'm super, super excited about that. I had this incredible conversation yesterday with It's just a mom of one of my son's friends who recently graduated with a degree in org psych after years of work kind of in the HR space. And, that conversation is such the epitome of probably conversations I have every week. Like people like you and I who are looking at this changing landscape that's out there. And they're saying to themselves, I'm ready to do something different. I'm ready to join my preferment era. And they want tips and tricks on like, well, how to do it. Like, how do you just start doing it? And so I love those conversations, Chris. And I learned so much about org psych in a way that I probably didn't understand it prior to that conversation, and how helpful it might be, to organizations undergoing change management.
Cool, cool. Well, the more organizations you touch, the more you're going to see that and bring that knowledge to them. I love that big rolling ball of knowledge that you get to participate in with your clients.
Yeah, it's so fun. All right, so enough about me. I've talked a ton. How have you been spending your week, Chris?
Gosh, what a week! What a week! So, first of all, I'm super excited about that South by Southwest announcement. Like, I really am touched that they asked me to participate on that. So hopefully we can get the excitement around that, because like the real message that I want to get across, like the question, can AI bring a new frontier in mental health? I would actually argue that we're already in a new frontier, for better or for yeah. And the message that I want to get out to the fam and to everybody who's listening to this, and everybody that we hopefully can touch at that audience, is that, can it bring the new frontier? Well, we're in a new frontier, but we have to build it the right way. We have to have the right thinking, the right ethics and things like that behind the choices that we make in terms of product design, the types of problems we focus on, the way we use algorithms. So even though we're in this frontier, we're still, as people like to say to us, we're building the plane while we're flying it. And we want to get more of the right voices. We want to make sure that people feel comfortable holding teams accountable while they're building that plane. So just want to inspire people to come in and join up and help and support those that are trying to guide things down the right path, because like the future is not in stone, and you have an opportunity to be a part of it and build that new future.
Well, it's so interesting, Chris. So, like, what tips would you give somebody who is, you're trying to encourage to build that future? I look at myself, I'm probably like your greatest guinea pig, because I am a totally self taught AI person.
Mm-hmm.
I am taking tricks and tips from friends. I might need that. I might need that vocal AI app to continue to help me on pronouncing that. But I am like totally self teaching this AI, and you have this background in it. So I'm always trying to push on you to say, actually, for my own learning, to say, okay, so these companies, and I'm seeing this, I was going to talk about it a little bit we get to a little bit of the roundup area, but like I'm watching some of these companies that maybe didn't have an AI strategy when they started out, now being told by their investors, or just not wanting to be left behind, that they need to infuse AI into their ecosystem. If someone wanted to start and do that, I have thoughts on how they do that, as I always have thoughts on how someone should do something, but like, you're the expert. How would you coach them to infuse AI into their org?
The way to infuse AI is to really have a use case that demands it. And you want to exhaust.
Wait, Chris, what if people don't know what a use case is? I
Oh,
keep going.
so
Okay.
so you need to get to a point where something is only solvable with AI. And how do you know that? Like, I'm going to use an example, because here's something that I'm really proud of this week, is that we started with this client in April, and now in, what is it, August, we have a functioning system that we're actually going to deliver to them super fast. Ad tech move, like, this is an ad tech client. They move really fast, and we're really proud of that. But when we set out with this product, I can't be super detailed on what it is, but it does use various types of agents to crawl the web and collect data and compare performance across a whole bunch of different sources at the same time. But when we set out to operationalize this, we thought that, oh, we see all this stuff that's going on with agentic AI using browsers and things like that. So maybe we can get to something that we can automate and deliver at scale really quickly. Well, we tried that first. We accidentally went with the full AI route first. And while it was able to go and browse the web and find little parcels of information, we were not at all satisfied with the speed. Like that, like the speed and performance didn't give us the ability to scale up to the degree that we needed. So
Can I stop you just for a second?
go
Because,
ahead.
okay, I'm gonna just want to unpack this for people that are like literally trying to do this, right? So you said, man, I want to use some agentic AI. Did you interview some agentic AI firms or did you build the agentic AI yourself, like coded it?
We built it, and we
Okay.
also, at the same time, like evaluated a bunch of different like off-the-shelf technologies, and
Did you issue them RFIs? Like that, that's more of my experience. You just kind of like market scanned it
well,
and
we took the systems and used them. So
okay.
like we would take the let's use Nova Act, for example. That's a agentic browsing system from Amazon. Man, we just and you got
So you bought it? You like bought a license for it, or you can just grab it for free and
that
try
one
it?
is open. It's built on
It's
some open
open.
source tech. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, we took that and threw it into our use case, and it just went crazy. There was so much prompting that you had to do to tame it and everything like that. So we actually ended up going with like really deeply researching a browser agent tool and built out like like deeply understood the various websites and things like that that we needed to pull data from. And what we did was we built something like when we built it the non AI route, we built something that was extremely fast, but then it would run into these points where it had to make a decision about, is this product related to this brand, and is it down this associated product line? So what happens in those cases is you get to something where there's so much information and data that you can't code a decision with a bunch of if then statements and things like that. So it was about rather than AI first, it's when can we use AI to solve the problem? Well, like when do we come into a problem that requires that advanced decision making? So the advanced decision making is expensive and slow, but it's powerful when you get to a point that you don't want a block of like 700,000 if then statements that this thing could process its way through. So you come into you have an end in mind. You have a strategy, like a goal that, hey, like in this case, we wanted to deliver like this thing that would tell a company its benchmark performance against a bunch of other companies on these other periods. Does it, like if we use AI to get there, or if we use our own manual effort to get there, the outcome was what was important. And there are some cases where AI was needed for that outcome. But if you start with AI, it tends to be slower. But if you judiciously apply it when the other places have gaps, then you build up. It goes into that speed, and then it like you can just get your product idea
Precision.
out faster.
You are talking about precision AI deployment. So you are like
Yes.
running customer journeys or user journeys, and you're basically surgically adding AI into the
Surgically, yes,
ecosystem.
yeah, surgically. Yeah,
Fascinating.
you
Okay.
get caught up in the hype early on, and like what was like if you start with agents, what they're really trying to do, what an agent, well, like why it's so hyped up right now, is because every time your agent goes and does an action, then it's like asking the LLM like, hey, what's the state that I'm observing now, and it's sending information back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, that whole time it's using tokens. And what tokens are, those are the individual units that you're paying for. Like if you're building an API that uses like chat GPT or Anthropic or what have you in the back end, then you're paying each time it's calling that LLM. So agents, they call many times more. So it's in their benefit to get you really hyped up on like agent all the things. But really, it should be a judicious, your word, surgical application of these approaches.
To bring the best ROI to the,
Yes, to
yeah.
not, yeah, the cost side of the ROI, you want to keep that down, and the speed side, you want to keep that up. So it's about bringing in AI only when necessary.
Yeah, interesting. I'm sure the token cost is still probably less than the person cost, though. No?
Oh yeah,
Tokens?
yeah. Like as far so the type of automation that we were doing, uh, let's see, like I would estimate that like these very specific job runs would take 4 to 7 hours for like hands-on
Human.
analysts to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were really thankful about just the idea that they could cut that time down on like clicking around in all these systems and all that, and really focus on the strategic element of how they compare these companies with each other.
Yeah, that sounds super exciting. Okay, I probably derailed you from finishing the story, but that was really a great journey to try to understand more of how our fam should start to apply the use of AI
And
in
I
the
just
right
had to get it
way.
off my chest. I had to get it off my chest like, hey, here's your blueprint for when to really apply AI. Is not because like it was in response to these VCs and all that saying, hey, you got to have AI in there somewhere. I think you just have to have the customer objective and what they're trying to solve for in mind, and you have to be the best at that. And you have to know when to use AI to solve it. But if you can solve a problem without paying for all these tokens and kind of slower processes, I don't see why. Like if you're solving the problem, like I don't see why to shoehorn or force anything. But maybe there's a different idea. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was actually going in a slightly different direction, and I was saying, okay, well, like, as you try to get your funding, you're also trying to show certain like milestones
Mm-hmm.
on the journey, right? So whether it's a revenue target or it's a gross margin target, right? So I could really see this coming in when your COGS is high. And then, you maybe have a little bit of spend, which you explain to your board. And then you say, well, we've invested in these AI agents because we're trying to bring down our COGS because we want to bring up our gross margins, right? And really like kind of create a narrative around a strategic use of AI.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. So it's are they advising this at the seed stage, or like where does this type of advice come in?
Well, I think it's everywhere, right? So like if you're in the seat, like this has been the most interesting part for me. I don't know if our fam is seeing this too. What used to be a seed is no longer a seed, right? So like seed has multiplied. So you can't get out of seed until you're like A's. A's are like 3 million to 5 million or higher now for A's, and maybe other people have different definitions of where their A's are in terms of like revenue generation. So I've heard of like a pre-seed extension, a seed plus now, where people are asking for a little bit more funding. And part of that story around getting more funding is showing great financials and like your reason to believe. So, if you're a day one and you're just like brand new building a company and you're putting together your financial model, it's very much pro forma looking. But if you're, maybe have been in business for a year and a half, right? And you have month over month balance sheet change, maybe you've even been in business for 3 or 4 years, right? You want to show like either healthy, consistent margins or healthy margin growth, right? Into these like higher numbers. And some of the ways in which you get your margins down is you either charge a higher or margins, you fatten your margins. There's that vocal training again, is you either charge more for your
Enlarging the
product.
margin.
Yeah, enlarge in the margin. I love it. Okay. So you have to charge more for your product, right? Challenging potentially in this world of inflation to keep charging more, but people are. Or you have to bring down your cost of delivery. And a lot of times your cost of delivery, at least in the healthcare space, is you know, your clinician cost or, your tech build. And so I can see where a lighter tech build because you're using more agentic AI and even less developer time could be really healthy for the margins.
I'm gonna ask a silly question. You're gonna hate me for this.
No, I will not. No.
Are so are there companies out there like starting up that don't have any kind of AI that they're like considering in their strategies, or I mean like we're talking about
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a silly question. Okay, so I think it's a spectrum, right? Depending on where people orient from, like, are you a mission-driven founder who like had an idea and found a problem and fell in love with a problem, and maybe you don't have a natural tech background, right? So a lot of times you just have this idea about the space that you want to solve in, and then you either learn to code yourself, or you bring in a technical co-founder, or you just, outsource your technical team. Various flavors of AI throughout that journey, at least in my experience. Now, when you go and you present your pitch deck beautifully to all the venture capital firms to try to get some money, I think the question now is, well, where's your AI, right? I mean, I think if you don't have AI in there, you're potentially getting laughed out of the room, depending on what your use case is.
Interesting, interesting. Like, because I'm just deep in the sauce, right? Like I've been in this since 2018 in this development context, and I see all this hype and everything like that. So I'm actually surprised that yeah, the where's the AI becomes a question because
Well,
it's
you're biased.
yeah, I'm very deep in the sauce.
Don't you recognize your natural bias? I mean, you entered or you spent a lot of your time at a company that was leading in the AI space for mental health. So you were on that far end of the spectrum, really
Hmm.
similar to me with digital diagnostics when we were talking about autonomous AI. So when I left there and saw other companies that didn't have autonomous AI or assistive AI, I was like, oh, but we were like out there, back in that time frame.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Starting to make sense. Uh, but so the question that I have is around like the way investors look at it is, do you think that if they say, "Hey, where's your AI?" isn't it a better question like, "What are your results?" and then like AI can factor into that, and maybe it does like it's surgically applied, but isn't that a better question? Like, what are your results? Like, what are you delivering for your customers? Like, I
Yeah, I'm sure the actual investment team is asking like, a much nicer question than what I blurted out on this show. Um, but I really mean it from the lens of I do think they're asking that question. Did you surgically apply AI in the right way? Um, and I think there's probably I don't know. I just feel like there's a little bit of a lot of speculation in like I always equate this venture shopping to dating. It's so similar to dating. Like you're looking for the firm that invests in the thing that you do, that likes how you chose to apply your product knowledge, that likes how you chose to apply AI, and that maybe doesn't have a competitive investment to what you're building. And what I do like to see is how the founders are so helpful and collaborative and like share venture investment names and like make intros for each other or be like, oh, this is a great firm. They know what they're talking about. Or, this firm, yeah, less knowledgeable about healthcare, but really nice or really not nice. And so, um, I don't know, it's very, very much like gambling or dating, I think, at these early stages in
mm-hmm.
terms of getting that right fit for your investment team.
Good point. Good point. Gambling, dating. We don't have all the data yet.
Yeah.
Can you? You're just in the thick of it. I just curious about your top level advice for people that are thinking about funding and talking to VCs. We talked a little bit about it a couple of weeks ago with Catherine from Doctivity, but just curious to hear from you. Your Wi-Fi dropped out at that time. I want to hear from you on like getting prepped up for these types of conversations.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, I think the number one thing is people ask me, I actually got asked this yesterday by someone, make sure your deck can speak for yourself, speak for itself, speak for you. Um, because sometimes you only get to send a deck or that blurb. So that needs to be like top notch, right? You may not even get that conversation. Um, Number two is probably like make sure you have a problem. This goes back to our conversations around um, nice to haves or painkillers, right?
Mm.
We definitely like just make sure that your problem is a venture problem if you're going to go hit the venture capitalists.
Dang, we
Um,
lost.
oh, am I back? Make sure your problem is a
You're
venture
back. You're back.
problem if you're going to hit the venture capitalists. So,
What's a
Um,
venture problem? Venture scale.
yeah, like venture level problem. So like I would say the way to know that is your TAM, your total addressable market, your sellable addressable market, your SOM. It like is that number big enough to like make an impact? And is it a space the venture capitalists care about?
Hmm.
And what they care about changes. Like it's very cyclical in, today it might be AI. A couple of months ago we were not doing services businesses anymore in mental health. Like we had way too many services business, and now it's all about tech enabled services. And so, um, like the quota gets full, and so like you need to make sure you're not as you found a space that you can really own and has a big TAM to start with. Otherwise, like just go, raise money from your friends, go build a business that way.
Well, speaking of TAM and speaking of understanding use cases and business problems and stuff like that, there is a chief information officer in healthcare who is offered a little bit of help with that type of thinking. That is his name is Will Weeder. He's the CIO at Aspirus Health, and he also was formerly the chief information officer at Peace Health. But he's a great presence, a great person to follow on LinkedIn because he gives kind of snarky reactions to like what's going on in the health IT space. But something really funny and really cool that he did recently was to go on and say, "All right, innovators and salespeople, etc., give me your best pitch. Write your pitch below in the comments, and I will reply to it." So we have like the Simon Cowell of pitch responses now, and I thought it would be fun to like pick a few that came up on the post and discuss about, hey, these are things that like while we're innovating and while we're thinking about how we go to market and show up for the hospital leaders, chief information officers, and things like that might be buying into our tech solutions. These are some things to be aware of. What do you think?
Yeah, when you first put this out there, I was like, "What the heck are you doing, Chris?" But the more that I have analyzed this, the more that I actually like really like this whole thing, right? First of all, the thing that I thought was, why is this man doing this? Is this an RFI that he's trying to get some good pitches to put into somewhere? Like, what motivated him to do this? I think we should find him and ask him.
Come on,
Like,
Will.
come on,
Join
yeah,
the show. Let's talk about this.
yeah. Why did you even do this? But secondly, I love a really good elevator pitch. And I think I saw some good ones and some not so good ones
Hmm.
and some, like read us one, Chris. Like
Okay.
just give us an example.
I want to start with not that great.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with not that great because I get similar pitches to something like this. So here's one. Healthcare is tough. The way I imagine it is kind of like being a competitive athlete in the Tough Mudder race. You're in a crowded space of competitors, and each is trying to move as fast as they can through slurry obstacles, all the while covered neck deep in mud. It's a constant battle of speed up and slow down. It's a scramble the entire way. You have to be innovative to get to the finish line before the competition, but if you lose focus just for a second, you end up in a world of hurt. If you want to win, you have to enjoy the challenge. Even so, some challenges are easier if you have a running mate who's up for that challenge too. That's what I can offer. Our clients count on us when they're ready to give up because they know we won't. We get them to the finish line. What's your next obstacle? And Will, his response.
No. Can I be well? Let me be well.
Read his response.
Steb Shiel, I do not know what you do.
Yeah, I felt that. I
Oh,
felt
this
that.
poor
Yeah,
guy.
he was
This
so
poor guy.
he put heart. Yeah, your heart and soul goes into it. You're like, man, I really believe in my company and everything like that. We're doing the grace. We're gonna get everybody across the finish line. But then we realized that we got lost in the sauce at this defining the purpose, but not the actual function in the 250 words that we get in somebody's email before we lose their attention.
Yeah, that was a really, like, I was with him on that muddy race, and then I was like, but what are you doing on this race? We know
Yes.
you're not a muddy buddy or whatever they call us.
So I don't so he said, I don't know what you do, but I maybe the feedback is like, we understand the passion and the purpose and everything like that, but we got to get to the point really quickly too.
Yeah. I hope no one says that about our show.
They probably do. How long did it take us to get here? But you know what? Let them.
Well, okay, but we shall make this real. How many times, data-wise, Chris, do you think a founder introduces themselves and their company?
Ooh, let's call it like it can depend on the week, but let's call it 27 times a week.
Yeah, I was gonna go like maybe like I don't know over 1,000 times. I was gonna go higher. I was gonna be like maybe 1,000 times a month. You meet somebody. I mean, people ask people what they do all day long,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
Maybe it's not. Maybe you're not pitching, right? It's like, hey, Melissa, what do you do? And I'm like, well, right now I have a undercover consulting company that helps early stage startups, right? I mean,
You're
I
so
tried to get it.
undercover being on a podcast. You're so
Yeah,
undercover.
so undercover. It's very stealthy. It's just because I didn't want to do a website yet. But nonetheless, like, okay, so I got what I do down to like 7 words. And that's really only because people kept asking me, like, well, like, what kind of companies do you help? Right. And so I had to add early stage companies in, and this poor Steb guy, he not once told people who he was helping, what space he was in, what was his value prop. I mean, you just imagine him out there running races, getting covered in the mud.
Which I would like to run with him, Steb. If you want to do a Tough Mudder race with me, hit me up.
Yeah, Steph, come back to us with another try, right? We don't mean to make fun of you. We will give you another chance to pitch yourself.
I want to
But
do. It would be cool to have some people on live with us, and we do a little Simon Cowell thing. But your turn.
okay, my turn on which part?
Picking a one of the responses.
Oh, okay. You want me to give a good one, right?
You could, yeah. There's some
Okay.
good ones in there.
Yeah. All right. So what I'll do is I'll try to find a shorter one. Um, okay. So uh, okay. So I liked what Charles Thompson. There's a piece of what Charles Thompson did that I really, really liked. Shout out to Charles Thompson. He asked Will a question about Will's problem, right? And so he says, I was curious how Aspirus Health is handling internal communication and system engagement as you expand. We've seen it can be challenging to keep your frontline aligned, particularly when communication policies and tools they need are spread across multiple systems. Flip AI's powerful all-in-one employee app connects frontline teams with real-time updates, safety alerts, and key resources. It integrates with existing systems, boosting engagement and improving ROI. I'd love to book in 20 minutes with you or for your other CIO friends over the next couple of weeks to explore this further. When are you free?
Great. Can I read Will?
Yeah, you totally read Will's response.
All right. Charles Thompson, a new investment doesn't improve ROI. It should provide an ROI. I'm having trouble understanding what this does and what it replaces in my current solution stack. Perhaps a link to the website with some visualization would help. Good luck.
Yeah. Okay. So the piece, I mean, I don't think he liked it as much as I did.
Okay.
Right? Like I said, the positive was he told me what problem he was solving, right? And I think what Will might have been doing there is saying, well, make it real for me. If you only have one shot, give me a chance to see it for myself. And then maybe have a better understanding of what you're talking about in terms of value. That's kind of how I interpreted Will's response. But Will, talk back at me.
Yeah. And go a little bit further on Charles. What was the big highlight? Like, what would you say the like? I know there was the slip up on ROI, which we love talking about ROI, but the other parts, like, what was the highlight for you?
Well, again, like he anchored me to the space and the problem that he's in. I love someone that can explain the problem that they're solving. Like sometimes I just think from my processing, sometimes I stop people and I just say, what problem are you solving? I saw a deck yesterday. new potential clients. So maybe I won't say too much. They had like 8 use cases. They literally had use case in their deck. Use case, use case, use case. I was like, this is amazing. Your product can do a lot of things, right? But like, this is a lot. Like, I don't know that
Hmm.
I can digest 8 things right now that you can do. And so, how do we simplify, 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 and we align it to my problem, not just all the great things you can do?
Beautiful, beautiful. There's one more. It's a bit long. Maybe I can give a condensed version. I'm gonna give this a shot. But
Well, as you get ready to do that, I would I think I love this game. Like if our fam wants to pitch us with some of the innovations that they are doing, we would love to shout this out. Like Chris, this turned out to be wildly fun. I would totally encourage our fam first to vote for you and your group for South by Southwest, and then second, tell us what you're innovating around. We'd love to hear your pitch. We promise we won't you know, we'll be as nice as we can
yeah,
as we analyze your responses.
we will make it fun. Honestly, we're gonna come on the show with us, or we can arrange that in our Discord too, where we have that conversation. We're setting up office hours. There's a little conversation going in there. There's a book club starting in the Discord. Come aboard, and we'll make that part fun.
I love that.
This other one from Devin Mobley. I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go through it.
Do it.
All
Just
right.
do it.
Will, if I had to guess, you're under pressure to show near term AI wins that are real, measurable, and low risk, as in results for your next board deck, with confidence the strategy won't fall apart 6 months from now. The blocker isn't AI as you know, it's the mess underneath, the spreadsheets, referral backlogs, 90-minute payer holds. The chaos leads to denials, delays, and turnover. No point solution or bolt on is going to fix that. You need comprehensive orchestration for the staff. You need Calvient. We sit beside the EHR, no rip and replace, to centralize referrals, prior auths, eligibility, ROI, and document filing into a single system of action. And then AI actually delivers. Phone agent waits on hold and AI summarizes, auto-classifying inbound records, and chattable SOPs slash payer policies reduce ramp time and soften staff churn. Some current client highlights: 30,000 document backlog cleared in 3 months, 35% referral throughput year over year for 50 provider clinics, med refills fully automated, no new FTEs, full-time employees. Send me last quarter's fax referral off volumes and I'll return a 3-slide ROI model. All right, Will.
Yeah, Will love this one, friends. Will, he said, Devin Mobley's super cool. One minor suggestion: if you're going to insert a link in your pitch, take me to something that helps me better uncertain, I think he meant understand, the product, not the company's LinkedIn page. Yeah, Will like that one, right, Will?
Yeah. So I wanted to bring that in as like one that was like unambiguously like
Like a
a
yes.
positive response.
Yeah, this is fun. Pitching is hard, isn't it hard? I think pitching can be one of the most challenging things you do, going back to like, you got to stand in front of someone, you got to face that rejection, and you don't even know if they care about your space.
Yeah, you don't know what their hot buttons are and things like that. And it's led me down this path of I can't really pitch without asking some questions and like getting to know the person first. I don't feel confident unless I have a really deep understanding of like what they're going through. I don't know what's your advice for like so Will was prepping people up for like, I don't know this person, I'm trying to reach out. Do you have any advice for people that are in that
Yeah,
case?
so what's so interesting is like I had this mentor that gave me a lot of opportunities like early on in my career, and I learned so much from him in terms of like sales is such a relational thing. Like I don't know that he would be in a point where he was cold pitching ever, right? It was always sales was relational, but um, there is a place for these cold outreaches. And so, as I mentor now, like BDRs and SDRs in these different roles, I am like, yeah, your first impression matters. And you do have to take some time, especially in these cold outreaches. If you need to like, go down this route where Will is, if you're reaching out cold, I much prefer The other end though, build a relationship, ask people for help, tell them what your goal is, just orient them. And I find that like if you kind of take that lens of can you help me, will you help me, what should I do, even if you're not asking them for direct help, but like who can I talk to, um, you win in that way. You might not be as fast, but you win.
Fabulous. And I mean, it's just good advice to not just rely on this cold outreach paradigm, which while we were talking,
You got a cold outreach.
no, no, no. I used to be a BDR like way back in the
Oh,
day.
I didn't know that.
So back in let's see, 2014, I'm looking at this deep history here. Amy Como at the time, she was the VP of marketing for Emory Healthcare, and I reached out with this terrible cold email. I can read it just to make fun of myself, but I reached out, but we still got the meeting and are still friends today. But it just like when you said BDR, it just reminded me, and I looked way back in 2014 to see the first email was like this pitch meeting, then everything else was just friendship after for years. Crazy how that works.
Yeah, and when you had this BDR role, were you nervous, Chris, about like just reaching out to people randomly, or because they were paying you, it was just easier?
It was like I was nervous about wasting people's time. Like I wanted to be the
Hmm.
person that if you're getting a message from me, it's like well thought out. It acknowledges what their problems. It shows an understanding of their space. And yeah, so what I was nervous about was like, am I going to send somebody something that looks like spam? I'll go ahead and read this one just for the fun of it. This was on LinkedIn. Amy, I know that connecting via LinkedIn is unconventional, but it was unconventional at the time. This is 2014. I know that connecting on LinkedIn is unconventional, but I saw your deep experience with Emory Healthcare, and I made it a priority to reach out. As I'm charged with providing tools and intelligence for healthcare marketers to attract and retain patients with highly targeted communications across web, social, direct mail, email, yada yada yada. I didn't write that. I wanted to see if there's an opportunity for us to work together. If you're open to discuss how Emory Healthcare can create a highly personalized Amazon.com type experience, I'd love to talk. Please let me know either way.
Oh, oh,
Oh my gosh, Amy, thank you for your years of friendship after that email, which you were kind enough to respond to.
oh my God. See, I do think it is. It's like people respond to the person. I had this nice BDR find me and call me yesterday, and I was just like not in the space to like have the conversation, and I was not like the right person. So I kind of said that, and then he said, "Well, do you know who the right person is?" And I was like, "Well, I'd have to go find that out, and I cannot do that right now. I thought you were someone else. I was not expecting a sales call at this point in time. And so I never try to be mean, but sometimes you're just not in the mindset to buy anything, right? And so that's why sometimes those calls, there's a lot of rejection there, I'm sure.
I want to finish off this section by saying, hey, I just read like something that I wrote like way back in the day. Uh, and I'm so glad Amy was kind. Be kind to these
Kind,
people.
be
Yeah,
kind,
because like, what if like 2 years down the road they're more like seasoned in their career, and then like you have an issue, they have a deep understanding of that space. You got a friend you can reach out to, if because they're working a really tough job. They're dealing with a huge amount of rejection and all that, and they've got a lot of tenacity. So 5 years on down the road when you're starting your own company and you need somebody who has tenacity to reach out, then that's a relationship that you grow with right
I
there.
know.
Be
The
kind to your
BDR
BDRs.
job is so hard. I mean, it
Yes.
might be as hard as being a founder, you know?
Oh yeah. Let's finish off with that pop culture. What's that
Ah,
goodness? What's the
okay.
goodness in your life?
Okay. Did I share this earlier? So I fell into the rabbit hole of the WWE show on Netflix.
No.
Yes.
What's this show?
Okay, someone's gonna have to look up the name for me. I don't even know if I know the name of it, but it's literally like the story of hope and inspiration for the characters on the WWE. And they take you behind the scenes of the orchestration of how they choose the characters and the storylines. And my favorite part is this idea. And my husband's like, I cannot picture you ever going to a WWE show. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to go
You
now.
should.
But there's this whole, like, it's like a soap opera, Chris, for people that do WWE. Like, they have storylines and there's winners and they select the winners and losers, and they have to make sure that if someone's going to win the SummerSlam or WrestleMania, that they're prepared for the onslaught of the fans. And so there's one of these guys, and he has made his own like hand cheer where they call it yeeting, right? So you probably know this, right? And so he lowers his hands together. If I do this, my laptop will fall because I'm in my temporary office. And so he's got the whole crowd like yeeting with him, and that's how they know that the crowd is ready to crown him. And then you watch John Cena, who I know from, the movies that he's in now. It's like John Cena's final year, and they're going to turn him from a good guy to the bad guy, which they call the heel. So, I mean, I binged that whole thing, Chris. I was like, this is a great show. My husband looking at me like I've lost my mind. He's like, laughing.
No. One of my best friends over here in Detroit is always hosting wrestling events at his house. So that whenever WWE comes to town, he's there. And so I was just surprised to hear you in that squad, but yeah.
Well, I was never in said squad.
You're going though when it gets to Connecticut, you're going.
Oh, but I get invested in the characters and the storylines, and then I'm looking at these poor people who get like bloody, and they get paid to get totally like beaten down. And I totally chat GP'd all of this. I was like, oh my god. I fell into the WWE rabbit hole. Okay, enough of that. What about you?
Mine is a little more subdued, more calm than that. But yours is more fun. But mine, I just love this Irish folk band called Lankum. I was at this music festival a little bit earlier this year called Big Ears in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I had never heard of this band.
I can't, Chris. Big Ears, Farm for the Butts. Like, do you only go to places that are named?
Yeah, body part themed things
events.
Only. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
The
best. I had never heard of this band Lankum, but they were like playing in this beautiful kind of open space warehouse, and I just had no idea that like 10 at night they were going to be playing this deep, soulful folk music that had this like really powerful bass and drone to it. It is, just an intense and modern take on like that classic Irish folk style, and deeply poetic. Just really exciting, really fun to listen to.
Will you post it up for everybody?
Yeah. Let's get. Honestly, they have songs like "Come Dig My Grave." Like sometimes it's a bit dark, but I'll think about something to put in the playlist. But,
okay, yeah, nothing. We need more hope and less darkness.
Yeah, we'll. Oh, the thing to post is the NPR Tiny Desk that they did. They did a really beautiful NPR Tiny Desk, so I think that'd be a good little intro to it.
That's amazing. And if you need a good laugh, check out the WWE reality show. It's actually called WWE Breaking Grounds, and I really feel like everyone else will be as inspired as I am by the stories of the characters of the WWE.
I'm just finally glad to find out the mystery of like how they chose Undertaker and the winners and the losers and things like that.
Oh yeah, like in a deep conference room, probably looking at ROI and value-based numbers and running against the different ad counts, being like, yes, it's time for this person to win.
Well, with that, thank you very much, fam. We just wanted to arm you with some tools and thinking as you're going out into the market.
Yes. And we'll see you next week.
All right.